This is Channel Attitude. Your voice, your right, your freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smack Attack. I am your host, Jimmy T, and my co-host is the magnanimous, the glorious Chabelo Vera Cruz. Welcome back to the Smack Attack, and for some reason, I can hear myself in the background.
Sometimes vanity is a motherfucker. You can hear yourself. You can hear the voices in your head. That's what Randy Orton's music is all about, hearing voices in your head. But you know what? What's up with RBV? He eats out all the time. He eats out at night. And then he's supposed to do the Smack Attack. RBV, Rick, what's going on here, man? Do you eat so much that you pass out and you have to go to sleep? I got to save Jimmy T from him doing a solo show. You know, I am not a co-host. Nights. I am not the permanent co-host, man. I am just here because I am here with the Hami Nights. I am here to enjoy myself. I am here to enjoy the Smack Attack and everything from the Hami Media Group at pipebomb.com. But neither here nor there. But I'm here to help out Jimmy T, and I'm here to lay the smack it down on the Smack Attack.
Well said. And yeah, RBV, he's on location somewhere in Ohio, I think calling some stock car racing, as a matter of fact, or actually maybe drag racing. I remember him telling me that's what he's doing. So he's calling drag racing somewhere in Ohio.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Prof, but yeah, he does all sorts of things. And with his voice, man, he commentates, he does all sorts of stuff. He promotes, he's a promoter. But yeah, he's been doing the car racing jig lately. Hence why he's not available today. He should be back next week, though. But thank you for joining me 2 weeks in a row. I did enjoy myself last week, especially. That was a great show. But we're back once again. And Lisa texts us in the chat saying Jimmy T is going to drop a pipe bomb. I just might.
Go ahead, Jimmy. The bomb is yours to drop. And RBV, you talk about his voice gigs, right? You know, at 12 midnight, he does another voice gig. But, you know, that's a little bit of rate of X. But that's neither here nor there.
Are we doing those old 1-900 numbers from back in the day?
Well, yeah, but you don't need $1.99 a minute. It's all OnlyFans kind of shit. But anyway, it's a little bit. The kids need not hear that. Go ahead, Jimmy.
That's true. We better not. Remember those days, though, man. I don't think they even exist anymore. But I wonder how much money they did make back in those days. It would have been quite a bit.
Not more money than that.
Oh, for sure. No doubt about it. I just want to mention we are live on Hami Media Group's YouTube channel, of course, and on channelattitude.com after the fact. Prof, you know, we always start with the news, and it hasn't really been too much of a noteworthy kind of news week, but I do want to mention that Vince McMahon allegedly, reportedly, attempted purchase of bare knuckle fighting championships. I find that kind of interesting, Prof. Why would Vincent Kennedy McMahon be interested in bare knuckle fighting, let alone his own promotion? I mean, would it even make money these days, especially in the US?
Remember, what is in Vince McMahon's blood? Promoting.
True.
That's first and foremost. It's a bloodline. I don't want to use that word again, but it's a bloodline of promoting from his father, his grandfather, all that stuff. And that is in his blood. Whether you like Vince McMahon for all the stuff he does behind the scenes, you know, all that perverted stuff, again, everybody, it's subjective. But he is a promoter first and foremost. And we all know this. Vince McMahon just loves to work. He loves to be a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week kind of guy, and he needs something to do. He does not want to retire with his billions on a beach with like 2 hookers on his side, just relieving him. He don't want that. I don't know. Again, neither here nor there, and everybody has their own quirks, but that's what he wants to do. And if he has the itch, remember, his son Shane McMahon, I think it was the Mr. McMahon documentary, they said that his son Shane wanted to venture into UFC and wanted to buy it at first. And Vince McMahon did not want to venture into that because he did not think there was an entertainment aspect of it. But as he's seen with UFC, it doesn't have to, it can be entertainment like, even in real sports combat. And Vince McMahon knows that there is a market to, you don't have to fake it with bare knuckle fighting. You know, you don't have to predetermine it, but he can gloss it up. He can liven it up. He can make it entertaining and all that stuff. So I'm not surprised that he was looking into venturing into that. Again, he's got an itch. He wants to promote. He wants to market.
You think he would actually turn it into a works promotion?
What, bare knuckle fighting?
Yeah.
I again, whether I'm not going to say whether whatever he touches is gold, because again, we remember the World Boxing Federation that tanked. We remember the XFL twice. That kind of, you know, it had one good week and that was it. But you know, he, like I said, he just loves to promote. It is what it is on that. But will it be successful? I don't know. Again, that's not his cup of tea. His cup of tea is wrestling. So, you know, that's why you hear the other rumor about him and the Saudis wanting to come back into the game of wrestling, whether it's WWE or not. I don't know about that. That one is the one I kind of like gloss over that to a degree. Like TKO bought WWE. They formed this conglomerate with UFC just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And then
if that.
And then you want to sell. You already spent $9 billion onto this joint venture, and then you want to sell it off after a year for a couple of billion. Newsflash for a lot of people, for the Haminites out there in the chat, when you make $1 billion investment like that, there is a 5-year plan. Now, again, it's still new, it's still fresh for TKO, but to sell it off after a year and a half, that's really stupid. And again, for $1 billion investments, there is a 5-year portfolio first and foremost before you even start entertaining the thought of selling off.
I agree, but make no mistake about it, Prof. I actually do think that TKO, Endeavor, shall I say, will definitely sell off WWE in the future. I think that's what type of...
I didn't say they're not going to sell off. I'm just saying it's too early to sell off now because you already made that kind of joint venture. And then if you want to make a good return on your investment and if you want to make a profit on your investment, then you wait about 5 years for it to be, for the valuation to grow a little bit more.
Because that's what these companies do, man. They buy them, they make them big enough where they're turning profits and then sell them off. I could be wrong. Maybe they will keep it for the long haul, but who knows? Time will tell. And as far as Vince McMahon potentially buying WWE back, like you said, but why would he? Because what would they sell anyway? With the Saudis, I thought that back. Look, unless they've got some sort of... See, this is one thing that people don't talk about, Prof. And I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember Black Saturday back in the day?
You mean the 1984 Black Saturday with Vince McMahon and TBS and Turner? Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Now, if memory serves me right, now I remember hearing at that time, you know how we bought the time slot, the TBS time slot to show, well, technically World Championship Wrestling was on that time slot, but he started showing WWF shows.
He bought the time slot from Georgia Championship Wrestling from the Briscoes to air his WWF show on Saturdays at 6:05. It was a big commodity, 6:05 Saturday night, because again, TBS was seen in more homes than the USA Network. So it behooved Vince McMahon to do the 6:05 with WWF. What Vince McMahon forgot was the Southern wrestling fans didn't like WWF. Is what it is.
To the point where they were complaining, actually, to put WCW. Well, Georgia Championship Wrestling back on, which was called WCW, the show, wasn't it? If I remember.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where didn't Turner have to buy the slot back?
It wasn't Turner, it was the Crockett's.
Okay, I thought Turner stepped in and actually took it off Vince.
Turner wanted Vince to sell off, but then you needed the Crockett's to pump in that money, which David Crockett conveniently says famously, "We the one that bankrolled WrestleMania with our money that we gave back to Vince McMahon."
Right. Well, technically, didn't Crockett Promotions end up becoming WCW anyway?
Crockett Promotions, WCW bought off the Crockett Promotions in 88.
Well, my point, what I'm trying to get at, apparently, and I remember seeing this and hearing this, but no one really brings it up. But allegedly, he said, "I'll sell you back the slot and all that if any time WCW or Georgia Championship Wrestling, whatever you want to call it at the time, but it's the same thing essentially. He had first dibs in buying the promotion if they were to ever sell again." And he cut a deal even with Turner because Turner was already vying to get the WCW up and running around that point anyway. It didn't happen until a couple of years later, but still, he was trying. But I heard that he made a deal to the point where if the company ever went for sale, he had first dabs at buying it. I mean, look at WCW and how cheap he got it, even though there was other players that actually offered a lot more money, for example.
There was no TV deal. That's why he bought it on cheap. But that's true too.
But are you telling me they couldn't have gotten the TV deal? I mean, let's be real here, man.
Well, remember the stories about WCW and their relationship, their turbulent, murky relationship with Turner, and they didn't like WCW no matter what. It was Ted Turner who loved wrestling. It wasn't the suits that loved wrestling. They just used it, abused it, and just sucked the blood out of it and all that stuff. So, we know that story. And yeah, it's a good example about, the Black Saturday, and it didn't last a long time. But again, those circumstances were different than Vince McMahon than TKO even wanted to buy off, let's say sell off WWE, if I'm trying to choose my words correctly. Again, the inflationary money from 1984 to 2025, Jimmy, is night and day. So we're talking billions here. Yeah, we can't even compare it. And again, buying TV time in 1984 is way different. Yeah, it was $1 million. But now, buying a company back like WWE, we already know the price tag. Vince sold it for $9 billion. TKO wants to that's your starting point. It's $9 billion to buy it back. Or if TKO wants to make a profit, it's $9 billion and above, $10 billion, $11 billion, $12 billion.
I'm hearing $12 billion. It's what it's valued at right now.
Yeah. The stock is still doing good. Yeah, the stock is still doing good.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. Cold-blooded. I've read that. Actually, I listened to it, the audiobook version of it. It's a good read, man. And, of course, a good listen.
Jimmy, you can't read on the toilet, the Nitro book? What's wrong with you, man? You need audio? Dude,
you
lazy that?
See, you're right, man. I've gotten lazy since audio books have come out, and I've got plenty of books, dude. And I've got a lot of wrestling books, of course. But once audio books started becoming a thing, I mean, nothing beats just kicking back in your bed, bro. About to go to sleep, with a good old audio book.
Use your brain, Jimmy. Don't let technology just make you soft and all that stuff.
I actually agree with you on that one, man. 100%. But anyway, let's go into other news, shall we, Prof? Because as we saw on Monday night, Liv Morgan, dislocated her shoulder, and apparently she's going to be out for 6 months. Which is a long time for her, man, and I kind of feel bad for her.
Yeah, she's been having an excellent run for the last year and all that stuff. So, it's bad timing. And of course, SummerSlam being in New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium, she was going to be a key player in the storyline. And, what are we going to do with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship? Actually, you can use Liv to a certain degree. I don't know if Triple H wants to do that, but with Roxanne Perez, you can bequeath the belt to Roxanne Perez, still create that, that love triangle between Dirty Dom, Liv, and Roxanne Perez with the belt and all that stuff. So, we don't know, the severity or if it's a work, as Zane Vicious says in the chat right now. So, We'll see.
Ain't no work, bro.
Never say I'm not going to disagree with that. Again, I love. What, Jimmy? It's all fair.
I was going to bring that up. Don't worry.
It's all fair. Exactly, it's all love and fair and all that shit right now.
One thing I've noticed.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that later in a certain segment. But
I thought you were going to continue on. But
I'm just saying. But
well,
it's all fair, love and game, and all that stuff. But from the personal standpoint, Jimmy, I'll say this: from the storyline, you can play off the love triangle. That could develop for weeks, and then Roxanne and Dirty Dom again. Dirty Dom gets his women 100% healthy when their women is like hurt and stuff like that. You ever notice that trend? The girlfriends go out a little bit, and then they come back, and then Dirty Dom's already on to the next chick. That's what makes Dirty Dom a superstar player.
I kind of like that too about his character. I'm not going to lie. Not because, I wish I was in his shoes. It kind of changes it up for him. Do you know what I mean? Which I kind of like that. Different woman forms a different version of him. So we'll see what happens there. And I guess timing is everything, right? Bad timing for Liv, but great timing for Roxy now that she can get into that spot without any sort of backlash, if you know what I mean. So we'll see what happens. But I will bring up, actually, I want to bring it up now, just quietly. You know how we were talking about the work with, Ron Killings, R-Truth, whatever you want to call him. Have you noticed now everyone is running with that suddenly? Oh, you've cut out, man. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Now I can hear you.
No, I'm just saying, it's funny to say it's a work and it's just a shoot and all that stuff. So, I'll say this, and like I said on last Smack Attack, Jimmy, what did I say? The IWC would not have accepted Ron Killings in a serious matter on TV. And we'll talk about Smack Attack, and then you look at the match. It's like, again, it don't make sense. It's not, again, if Ron Killings was still, if that issue of him getting released, quote unquote, and all that stuff, would anybody have taken a serious last run of Ron Killings seriously? No. You might have booked certain things for a last run, which Triple H would have done it no matter what. There's a lot of, you can use, remember I said last week, Shinsuke Nakamura, he's surfing, but I think he's due for that last run too, right? Everybody's due for a last run, but you know what? There's a rule for the last run. You gotta be on top. You gotta be, revered. I hate to burst people's bubbles, but Ron Killings ain't that dude to be getting the last run to what? To be the heavyweight champion? No. To what? Win the Royal? To what? Win the Royal Rumble? No. What? To main event WrestleMania? No. But he got two main events in 6 weeks' time. Saturday night's main event and this SmackDown. So he got his main events. Now you just got to give him a credible storyline.
Yeah, I mean, but I just want to I do want to give you the credit, and like Cold Blooded says also in the chat, damn it, Jimmy, we said it at the same time. But I'm telling you, dude, since we were talking about it and you bring it up last week on this very show, I've noticed the Dirty Sheets are starting to all run with this too. So I wonder if they were listening. I wonder.
I wonder too, but I kept saying, we won't know until 10 years when Ron Killings is officially retired and he does the kayfabe commentaries, and then he's like, "Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was." And of course,
I've got a feeling he'll be pretty much done from television by next year. This time, somewhere around this time frame.
It is the last run, so of course I understand that, but you got to remember. There's a statute of limitations, Jimmy. You just can't say once you retire, go on the kayfabe commentaries and say, "Yeah, it was all a work." No, you got to milk it. You got to still play that wrestling card right now.
For sure. No, absolutely. Definitely, man. 100%. In other sort of spicy news, apparently it's true. I mean, it's been confirmed that Mercedes Monet and the Beast, actually, should I say,
the Beast Mortos,
are an item. What the hell is going on there, man? I mean, I'm not going to lie, but, Mrs. Monet or Miss Monet, whatever you want to call her, she has a weird taste in men, dude. I'm not going to lie.
No. It's not a weird taste in men. She actually saw the light. No disrespect to the ex-husband, but that dude was a gaming nerd and all that stuff. Nothing wrong with people who
That's my
love
point.
gaming, but the dude was 5 foot nothing, 90 pounds of nothing, and was married to her for like what, 8 years? God
Something
bless
like that.
God bless him. But she needed some meat. She wanted the meat. And you cannot get more meatier than. Can you say that name with your voice, please?
The Beast Mortos.
Can you imagine that in bed, Hami Nights, right there, the Beast Mortos? And you can role play with that mask on. Oh my God, Mercedes is loving it. She's loving life.
Oh shit. That's what you call
Fatality.
She's getting it every night right now. That's for damn sure.
Look, I haven't seen him without the mask. I don't know if you have, but I don't know. Maybe he's a stud. I mean, shit.
I'm just saying gaming nerd. I'm just saying gaming. Let's keep it 100 right now. Some of those, yeah, gaming. But some of those gaming nerds do. Them gaming nerds do get some women. Let's not get it twisted, Hami Nights.
Oddly enough, it's true. It's weird. I guess it's all about the personality, right?
But I'll say this for the Beast Mortos. You know what? This is a great political move on his part. He's not going to say it outright. He's not going to say it out loud. But to have the political stroker of Mercedes Monet in your back pocket, do you see in the next maybe couple of months, Beast Mortos maybe getting those TNT title shots, the unified title shots, maybe more TV time on Dynamite or Collision? I'm just saying.
Shit.
To make Mercedes happy, Tony.
Zay says, Prof a freak.
Yeah, bulls are freaky. I'm a Taurus. We are freaky. But again, Jimmy, I'm just saying. Don't you think I'm not saying he's using her, but goddamn, Mercedes, stand by your man. Come on, Tony, book him. Book him right.
Book him. Absolutely book him. 100%. So there's that. Because funny, because I didn't actually believe that, and then it got confirmed anyway. So here we are. They are officially an item. Good for them, though, man. Good for them. We got also Goldberg back after we saw Monday night, Prof. Are you excited for Goldberg? I mean, he still looks great for his age. I'll give him that. But come on, man. Surely he ain't beating friggin' Gunther, right?
He shouldn't beat Gunther, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does beat Gunther. And I don't want him to beat Gunther. Is this for the title?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, then that's worse. You don't want Goldberg's last match and him being the world heavyweight champion, because then it makes no sense. What, you're gonna drop the title for Gunther in another tournament? That'd be stupid for Triple H even to do that. Now, if Bill Goldberg will honor Gunther's maybe rise into his street cred, if you will, Jimmy, like decimate him, destroy Goldberg, and at least have his son try to honor his dad, and he gets beat up, and then you have Jey Uso come down and try to save the Goldberg family. I can deal with that, but I'm not excited for a Goldberg Gunther match at Saturday night's main event. But again, it's about the TV ratings, Jimmy. It's about the social media hashtags and all that stuff. I'm not supporting it, but I'm not condoning it, because again, Triple H is a man that you need some filler time, and Goldberg is great filler time. He better get a lot of money to take an ass whipping from Gunther.
You'd think. Zane says, I heard Mortos looks better than Roman Reigns.
Don't you ever desecrate Roman Reigns, man. That man's that's perfection. He's the one.
Yeah. Come on. He also said he'd work Mercedes like overtime. Damn. Jesus.
Damn.
Settle down, bro. Jimmy, what happened to Sammy Guevara?
Jimmy, this is why I say you must talk about the news. The news brings the Hami Nights out. They all love the news.
It definitely does. And speaking of the news, like we said, let's hope Goldberg does not win the championship, but who the hell knows? But there was also a health scare for the immortal one, Hulk Hogan, who, I don't know if you heard, but Bubba the Love Sponge came out just a few days ago saying that Hogan was in bad health and that he's on his deathbed, essentially. But then Hogan came back and said, I'm still breathing, brother. I'm still here. Yeah, there was like, he said he was fine, but apparently he was in hospital for neck surgery and he's not dying. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how people feel about that, if they're happy or not, but I don't know where Bubba actually even got that rumor from and why he would even say that.
Just remember the strained relationship between Bubba the Love Sponge and Hulk Hogan. And I think Hogan sued Bubba, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think he won, bro, as a matter of fact.
So, of course, whatever news you get out of Hulk Hogan, you're going to twist it for your audience and all that shit to make clickbait. So for him to say he's on his deathbed, I think Bubba actually wished he was on his deathbed. So, it is what it is. But, historically, for the last, 15 years, Jimmy, Hogan's been in the hospital in and out, hip surgery, knee replacement surgery, back surgeries, multiple back surgeries. So, now it's the neck surgery, as you reported. So, Hogan is very frail, but, he's got to do what he has to do to keep trying to live a healthy life. But, it is what it is on that. So I don't, you shouldn't wish death on somebody. But I think Bubba, for all his history with Hogan, is wishing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, this is the same guy that let Hogan pork his wife. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Weird cats out there, bro. Weird cats. But
maybe Mercedes' ex-husband made a Beast Mortos. He was like, "Yo, Beast, pork my wife in front of me."
The Cac Mortos. Oh shit! Imagine that. Anyway, speaking of Mortos, let's go to Triple A and what WWE's endgame is apparently.
Wait. Why are you moaning when you say Triple A? Where you get it?
Because that's
check your pants, Jimmy. When you say Triple A, man.
It actually, it makes me want to say, like, remember Master P? Make him say, It's like, make him say Triple A. You know what I mean?
Jesus
That's
Christ.
why I do that.
Oh, God.
But enough of the moaning, enough of the moneying and stuff like that. Conan says that WWE's endgame for AAA is to get the US TV deal, apparently. Do you believe that, personally? Or is WWE's real final endgame to start NXT Mexico?
Well, I wouldn't be shocked of the NXT Mexico part on the WWE side, because, again, they acquired AAA to do whatever the hell they want to do. Exactly. I don't want them to take AAA and all its history and all its legacy to make it become NXT Mexico, but you bought it for a reason. And I don't want, and Conan probably might feel, he'll feel like the ultimate mark being like swindled and conned like this, but he's saying all the right things because he's part of the AAA family. He's part of the WWE umbrella. So, no disrespect to him. So we'll see in about 5 years where AAA is going to become. If it's going to be NXT Mexico or not. But, you have to look at it from the standpoint that both WWE and AEW want to, I don't want to say invade the Mexican market, but utilize the Mexican market. Again, we remember in the 90s during the Monday Night Wars, Bischoff used and abused the luchadors, the cruiserweights, and all that stuff. Did they actually make it to the next level? Not all of them, no. Rey Mysterio was the one that kind of jumped over all the other luchadors that was coming in, but you saw what they offered, what the luchadors offered on American TV, but nobody sustained it right. And then, of course, we remember a couple in the 2010s, Jimmy, Lucha Underground. You got a little bit of a taste of the lucha wrestling storylines in a sense. And now you got this, and again, like I said, WWE and AEW want to invade the Mexican market and use it for what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, do you think it will get heat, though, with the Latino fan base, not just in the US, but obviously in Mexico and everywhere else?
Put it this way, right? You literally saw in the last 2 weeks the difference between an American audience and a Spanish audience and a Mexican audience. What is it? Vikingo is revered in America. God damn, he got booed out the building.
Sure he is.
He got booed out. Vikingo gets booed out the building in Mexico for beating Alberto El Patron. What's the dude's name from AEW? Alanis Jr.
Right.
Motherfucker got booed out the building with his father by his side on AEW Dynamite. Maybe we love him in America, but goddamn Mexico doesn't. But again, they'll follow. But the American AEW fan will follow suit.
Dude, the Latin lover is still mega over in Mexico, bro.
There you go.
I mean, I'm being serious.
Mr. Iguana is going to be a crossover star.
Oh my God! Did you see the crossover with him and Joe Hendry by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, it's going off. Zach Minga or Minja, I mean, however you want to pronounce it, says hello everyone and thank you for joining us. I mean, that's a new name I haven't seen about. I'm just happy we got a new name.
I don't want to call him Minger. I'm going to call him Zack Attack. You know, Smack Attack, and now we got the Zack Attack.
Zack Attack. It's the Zack Attack. Yeah, hopefully I didn't, botch your name there, Zach. But welcome to the Smack Attack. What other news have we got now before we get into SmackDown? There's not really much going on other than AEW has popped the rating and is up quite a bit from 500 and something thousand all the way up to 700 and something thousand viewers. Now, is it because they were in Mexico? Or, and it's just a one-off? Was it more, Latino-speaking people sort of tuning in because of CMLL?
No. Let's. I understand how you're trying to be nice about this, but I'll tell you the real. I'll tell you the truth.
Go for it.
If you look at AEW when they pop a rating, it's always a special event. Fighter Fest.
Every week is a freaking special
No. Again, if they put a moniker on their weekly show, like if it's it's AEW Grand Slam Mexico, it's AEW Fighter Fest, it's AEW this. It has to be a name for that specific Dynamite. They pop a little bit of a rating to a degree.
Yeah.
When
AEW
it's not
fucking sweaty balls.
Yeah, it will pop a rating. But when it's AEW Dynamite with nothing on the marquee, it goes back down to the 500 to 600,000 mark. And it's funny because Dave Meltzer will celebrate this and then forget to tell us what those max numbers are. Dave Meltzer is the only guy that wants us to go crazy and gaga over max numbers that we don't even know. He don't know it.
Max.
He keeps saying it every week, whatever rating they get, but we don't know the max numbers. It's one of the weirdest things. He don't know it. Sean Ross don't know it. What is it? Adrian Zering, they don't know these max numbers.
And apparently did.
Supposedly. And then what was it? Belfield said it was a 500K, which was really ridiculous. And again, that's still disputed to this day, and no one's believing that. But again, it's neither here nor there. But they popped the rating, Jimmy. The environment was great. The ambiance was great. And seeing all those luchadors was great. But for AEW Dynamite purposes, and you'll get it on the record tomorrow how many nights, but it wasn't. Was it really to celebrate CMLL, or was it an AEW Dynamite? That's the problem I have with that. You know what I mean?
It was very much AEW Dynamite. I mean, come on.
Yeah, because not every story from CMLL is going to carry over in the weeks to come, except one. It's Mystico and the Hurt Syndicate. Everybody else is going to get laid to the wayside.
Well, I mean, I didn't even know Hangman speaks Spanish, and pretty good too. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I'm happy that he did that for Latinos to hear Hangman Page speak Spanish. Great, what a great way! What a great segue.
Bruce says Bret Hart made El Dandy a legend in WCW. I remember that. It was on Thunder when he said that. Actually, that was pretty funny, man. Mm-hmm. Bret Hart's WCW run was extremely underrated, by the way. I think he likes to shit on his WCW run, but I think there's quite a few gems involving Bret Hart in his WCW run when you think back on it, Prof.
He was frustrated with the booking. He was frustrated with management, so he could not enjoy the little nuances of certain storylines that he did.
He also said it was an AEW house show in Mexico. I can see that.
I can see that too, but again, they call it Grand Slam Mexico for a reason, and then they oversaturated a lot of CMLL stars. Again, like I said, the only CMLL star that's going to carry over for the next couple of weeks is Mystico because he's doing something with MJF. Everybody else, I didn't care about Atlantis and Atlantis Jr. and FTR, my favorite tag team.
Oh, you know what? They popped me last week. I'll give him that.
Who?
I'll give him that. FTR.
Oh,
I wanted to shit on him, but they actually made me laugh. And Stokely, I think, is starting to do some good shit with FTR right now. Even though at first I wasn't sure about it with them three, but I think it might just work out. And it's the right thing to do by having them heels because the fans want to boo the shit out of FTR right now anyway, to be fair, as you would say, Prof.
no, the fans want a very balanced tag team division, which they don't have.
That's true too. I don't think they have it anywhere in any company. Speaking of, what happened to the tag teams in WWE?
Well, Vince McMahon never liked it. You know that.
But have you noticed
doesn't make money?
Disappeared. Yeah, it's weird, bro. It's weird. I think that's about it as far as news. Oh yeah, actually one more. Even though it was sort of last week, but I do want you to know your thoughts about the lawsuit filed against John Moxley by an ex-crew member or an ex-cameraman that not exactly works for AEW, but was working for AEW through another company, obviously. Did you hear about that, Prof, earlier in the week?
I heard about it, and, you know, the fault of Tony Khan is not taking care of the guy. The fault of John Moxley is if he wanted to do something like that, he needed to tell Tony, like, put a wrestler, put a jobber in that kind of role, so this way I could do what I could do as a heel. That's what he didn't do right. No communication in the back like that. And Tony Khan just should have compensated him, and this would not be a story. And it's going to be he will get compensated. It will. Oh, 100%. It would have been less if Tony Khan took care of it right away. Took care of the medical bills, gave him some AEW Dynamite tickets, of course, all in backstage pass and all that stuff. You take care of him like that, it would have been less than what he has to do now. Now going into litigation, it's stupid. It's not about me laughing at Tony Khan. It's like I don't want to call it a frivolous lawsuit, but come on, guys. I mean, you know this. And I'm doing this because I know it's a frivolous lawsuit because I know that he's suing because Tony Khan has money. We all know this. It's not me defending a billionaire. Yeah, I'm not defending the billionaire, but I just know it is a frivolous lawsuit. It's so stupid. He's like, now that's like, I'm hurt. God damn. And that push wasn't even that hard. Come on, let's be real here.
I know he didn't get hurt, man.
Let's be real. But I will fake it. Just like I'll put the neck brace on, I'll be in a wheelchair. Give me my 150 million, and then we'll sell out of court for 10 million. I understand the game, but it's just come on, man.
Just remind me if I ever go to an AEW event, I'm gonna slip while I'm there so I can sue Tony because I know, knowing Tony, he loves settling when it comes to court cases, dude. So this guy is gonna get his money 100%, even though it happened back in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that other suit going on with the what was it, the boys?
Yeah,
that still going on?
That's still ongoing. Yep.
Yeah. So I think Tony wants to fight. Tony's trying to fight this. He's learning from Vince McMahon. You got to fight it, or try to weaken their resources of the money. He's got better resources. When you're rich and a billionaire, you got the money resources. So it's attrition, Jimmy. That's the word.
Problem is he doesn't really fight. He just settles, man. That's the thing. He ends up settling all the time. So. And I think he'll do the same thing because he just wants it out of sight, out of mind, doesn't want to deal with it. You know what I mean?
I don't care about it. I don't think you care about it. But again, when you're an anti-AEW fan, you will remind Tony, what kind of sloppy shop you're running?
Bad. Zane says, why is Hangman speaking Spanish so surprising? Because he's from freaking Virginia. I mean, come on.
Well, Jimmy, you got to remember that... Well, I don't want to combine political stuff that's going on today, but most of those farmhands, Jimmy, if you remember, are illegal immigrants from El Salvador, from Honduras. So their native language is Spanish. So Hangman Adam Page was around people not speaking English. So he's learning that. So actually, I'm just saying.
So you're saying that that he learned Spanish through illegal immigrant workers at his farm? Is that what you're referring to?
You could say that. I'm not. I'm just saying. Who are the people employed in those farms?
Gross, I know, man. I know. There's a lot of Spanish around the US, but Virginia is on a hotbed for Latinos. Let's be real, man. I mean, come on. I'm sure there is plenty though, but not like friggin', the West Coast or the East Coast,
work
like
is
New York
work.
City.
Farm work.
Farm work is work. Absolutely,
It's farm work, Jimmy, and you find it wherever you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. It's the same thing here, dude. It's all ethnics that do that shit over here. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, it's not here or there. But that was the news for this week. Everything else just seems like ridiculous stuff. Like Will Ospreay announces engagement to his girlfriend. Cool. You know what I mean? It's all love is in the air, actually, Prof, this week. Funny enough. But that reminds me because we're off to, Grand Rapids, Michigan for WWE Smackdown. Pretty hot crowd for Grand Rapids, funny enough. And like not bad show. But anyway, we see LA Knight getting on the mic pretty much straight off the bat on SmackDown. He rewinds his mind back to Money in the Bank where Seth and his boys just happened to come down and screw him. He talks about how Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed both out of King of the Ring, and it's got him thinking. And that's when Paul Heyman enters the room after actually LA Knight called out Seth Rollins. He wanted Rollins there tonight to wrestle him, I assume. But Heyman introduces himself and berates the crowd for booing the mention of Seth Rollins. He says Knight is right. Lots has gone down between him and Seth, and he's here tonight as we start hearing CM Punk chants, Prof, and they drown him out, as a matter of fact. As then Knight gets back on track and Paul continues saying he's actually the biggest LA Knight fan in all of WWE, and he's been waiting a long time to say, yeah. And because of that, Seth has allowed him to come here and say to LA that it's time for him to get the hell out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, because if he doesn't, something really bad is going to happen to him before the end of the night, as he bids Knight a nice evening and steps back. He also says it's not a spoiler. It is a spoiler, not a prediction. And then Knight essentially says that he wants the match. Well, what happened there? You all right, Prof?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can't hear me? Yo. I can't hear you, Prof. I should be able to hear you now. Can you hear me? I think it's your input, man. I can hear something.
I'm trying to do this shit.
There we go. Now I can hear you.
Can you hear me, guys?
Now, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Guys, you can hear Professor, right? Prof, I can hear you, bro.
Can you hear me, Jimmy?
I can hear you, yeah.
Can't hear you. It feels like
You can't hear me? Oh, great. Guys, can you hear me in the chat, just out of curiosity? Unplug your... They can hear both of us, Prof.
You can hear me, guys? I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Cold-blooded, you can hear me? Okay. I can't hear Jimmy. I apologize to how many nights out there. If you can hear.
Yo, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just backed in and out just in case.
All right, cool.
So we're all good now. Anyway, where was I? I was pretty much at the part where LA Knight wanted a match with Paul Heyman, since we're not going to get Seth Rollins at SmackDown. So instead he asked for Heyman. Heyman essentially is like, hell no. What did you think of this? And then we get Bronson Reed and, of course, Braun Breaker coming to the ring. And then we end up setting up the match for Bronson Reed versus LA Knight later on tonight on SmackDown. What did you think of the opening segment, Prof? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? The crowd is still behind LA Knight, man.
Well, didn't you say last week he was buried LA Knight was buried. Where is he going? I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, no. The thing is, like, they're always as hot as he gets really hot, man, and then they step back a little bit with him. I feel like they try to cool him down again. You know what I mean?
They spank him. They spank him. I know. Whatever goes behind the scenes, if he has any kind of issues or heat with anybody, I always joke about that. Maybe he has issues with Triple H. I remember like years ago, what was it? LA Knight had issues with Kevin Nash, and of course, Kevin Nash and Triple H. You know, that's the click buddies. That's click brothers for life. So
that
you know how
last year.
I don't know if that was last year or 2 years ago, but you know, people can be petty like that, Jimmy. So you know, maybe you prop him up so much, right? And then you have to, you know, take him down a peg here and there. But he's still in the limelight. He's still in a very top angle with Seth Rollins' crew and stuff like that. So, you know, and again, 10,000 people will keep saying yeah all the time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they absolutely love him. I mean, look, he's great. Tonight though, or last night, his promo was very Stone Cold-ish or esque, if you know what I mean. Even though he does have a lot of traits from The Rock and Stone Cold, the way he delivers, his cadence reminds me of Stone Cold as well at times.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it really stands out. It can get a bit annoying when it does stand out. But still, he's great. He's still absolutely entertaining. I just want to see him get his flowers eventually.
But is it authentic, right? Not a lot of people, because like you say, he's taken from The Rock, he's taken from Austin. But like I say in my tagline, wrestling is cyclical. So you take from the people from the past. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I've got no problem with that. Just don't make it so obvious, though. That's the only issue I've got. You know what I mean? It's too obvious at times. Zayn said he's good for carrying TV. Absolutely, he's good. This end Texas says he should be champ.
Especially, you know, for a 3-hour show, you need for carrying TV. Of course, LA Knight can carry at least a 20-minute segment. So, you know, use it for what you can, especially for the circumstances for a 3-hour show. Because again, you have to keep an audience engaged for 3 hours as best as you can. So you start off hot with LA Knight. So, you know, you got LA Knight, you got Bronson Reed, you got Braun Breaker. Goddamn Braun Breaker, you know, man woofing and barking and all that stuff. That
God, bro.
That's some funny shit, though.
Bro, God. Speaking of, that leads us, after that segment, we go to commercial and we come back. We see Paul Heyman is backstage with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, insisting they've got things under control and this all works in their favor. Then we see Saxon rolling up and Braun tries to attack him like a dog as he barks, going, rawr, 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 trying to scare him. I mean, stop it, Braun, please. You're a dog or a human being, for crying out loud? I mean, I'm just saying, bro. I know he's trying to, like, be his old man. He's the new modern day, you know, what's it called? A dog-faced gremlin? But come on, bro.
He's trying to find his niche. Again, you know, like you said with LA Knight, right? You say he's taken from The Rock. He's taken from Austin. He's taken all, maybe from Mr. Kennedy and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So to a degree, the worst thing for Braun Breaker is you're taking from Rick Steiner. You're taking from Scott Steiner. But again,
Rick was never that like that, though. He wasn't barking like a dog to people.
He barked.
Ooh.
But he barked. But that's all it is.
He wasn't trying to be a dog, though. Like, his Braun comes across like, come on, bro.
But he's trying to find his own niche to the bark, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Again, you still got to take something from your father, right? You still got to take something from your uncle. So again, it's the hardest thing to do is, you know, he's got to carry that torch of the Steiner legacy. So one barks and one is flexing and all that stuff. Braun Breaker's body is not on the big Papa Pump mark. Don't get me wrong. But for the comedy, I don't want to call it comedy, but for the entertainment purposes, the barking works. And he's got to use it and utilize it to give it his own niche.
God damn it, man. Anyway, I mean, if you're cool with that, that's cool. But I don't know. It's starting to annoy me. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, Heyman thanks Saxton and then thanks him before telling Reed that patience is a virtue and it's just a strategy. And then we move on to the first matchup of the evening, Prof, between Alexa Bliss versus Asuka. It is a Queen of the Ring semifinals matchup. This was an entertaining match, and Asuka does get the win via pinfall with the Empress Impact. I actually kind of enjoyed this match.
The match was okay. I think from the last Smack Attack that I was on with you, I thought they were going into a different direction with maybe like the back and forth looking between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Maybe she would cause a distraction to kind of like percolate that storyline more. But
right.
Remember I said with Triple H, the way he does stories, it's slow burning. So now the slow burn is a little bit different. So they made her lose clean to Asuka. It's fine. I don't care about that. But again, it's about the other storylines, the percolating storyline between Alexa and Charlotte Flair like that.
Right.
You know, a matter of respect. You know, you're the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. Are they going to work together to maybe go after the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships or something like that?
It feels like they're going there.
Yeah,
eventually.
But they're going to percolate that storyline of uniting, as a sisterhood, and then it will blow up by maybe the next WrestleMania or something like that. So that's why it kind of like threw me off a little bit. I was expecting more from that aspect. So they went the slow burn way. So she lose clean. I think it would have helped that Charlotte kind of like looks. She didn't have to do anything. She just could have just came down the aisle, looked at the match, scouted or whatever the case may be. Alexa loses her train of thought, her focus, and that's it.
Simple, right?
Simple.
Right, it's true.
But they didn't want to do that.
It's true, man. Zayn Vicious says it's slow burning because Triple H is stupid.
Yeah, for that particular thing, Jimmy, I think I would agree with Zayn. I think it's too slow burning to do that. That's why I said you have to have it make sense. That's all I want to say. Make it make sense. They have a little bit of an issue within each other. They don't quite trust each other. So why not have Charlotte? You're not going to get Charlotte Flair to have people cheer for her. It's not going to work. I'm sorry, Triple H. It's not going to work, whatever you want to do. If you want to rub off of Alexa Bliss's, cheering, it ain't going to work. So what do? You have Charlotte just look at the match. Alexa look at her and stuff like that. It's simple. Visually, it's simple. And Triple H chose not to do that. So Zayn is right.
Maybe he's looking for some HLA.
Well, then I let him kiss. I didn't see it. Give me something. But it's slow burning.
Zayn also said it popped me because I bark like that too. What are we going to have? Motherfuckers meowing next. God damn. Can you imagine that? All right, meow.
Beast Mortos right now is not barking, but he is doing something monster-like in the bedroom with Mercedes Monet. There's some sounds going on in the bedroom.
But see, the cool thing about him, I love when he talks, bro, because he doesn't talk any language. It's just, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny, though.
Sounds like a slow-witted Arnold Schwarzenegger right there.
Get to the chopper. Anyway, Zayn also said, Charlotte and Alexa should have happened 5 years ago. Yeah, but Alexa was, injured all the time and whatnot. It's happening now, Zayn. Just be grateful, apparently. Anyway, as I said, Asuka wins. But then we go to a backstage segment between B-Fab, Mia Yim, and Jade Cargill are all shown watching. Mia and B-Fab go off to talk to Nick Aldis about the tag titles and tell Jade she's got this. As Saxon rolls up to interview Cargill, she says Roxanne Perez has potential, but she's still trying to prove herself. And this isn't a proving ground. It's a throne room, apparently, Prof. And she's ready for the crown. Is she ready for the crown at this point, actually, Prof?
Roxanne or Jade?
No, Jade.
You know what? If Jade's character was more AEW like the baddest bitch on the roster, I would agree with it. I would agree that the crown is just perfect for her. But she's not even being that. It's not being that. She's very plain and for Jade it doesn't work, but she's being plain and vanilla. I know. Get the picture out of your head, but again, it's not racial right now, but it's very vanilla with what Jade's doing.
Yeah, it is. And just so we have to explain it to people just in case. When he says vanilla, he means, boring, just very bland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is bland by her standards, to be fair. I mean, yeah, exactly. To be fair. She's just sitting there crossing her arms. That's about it. You know what I mean? Doesn't really say too much.
And the Triple H conundrum of slow burning. Again.
Right.
the Naomi situation, the Bianca situation. It's not playing out just yet on TV. More, it should be playing out a little bit more.
He's losing touch with that, actually, right. I feel.
But then he comes back to it when it's convenient. But I guess he's thinking like, oh, it's just the Queen of the Ring, so we don't need that storyline just yet. But again, Jay's character in AEW is night and day with what she's doing on WWE right now.
I agree with both of these fine gentlemen. Zane says, I love to see Jade in vanilla. And Gross says, Jade needs to be a heel. I agree. Jade as a heel is money, literally.
Can't argue with that.
Her as a babyface comes across as fake to me.
Can't argue with that, Jimmy. Yeah, can't argue with that.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens there. But anyway, as we come back from another commercial, we see Alexa Bliss runs into Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis. They bicker about Queen of the Ring, and then we see Charlotte Flair rolling up and says she's going to get a match against Green and tap her out tonight, Prof. Chelsea then yells something about calling a bank holiday and storms off, leaving Alexa to tell Charlotte she doesn't need her help and Flair to tell her she wasn't trying to help her. At this point, I'm like, get a room. Jeez, what's up with these two? But we've already discussed that.
The sexual tension is there, Jimmy. That's all.
The tension's there, bro. The tension's there. But, yeah, that was that. I still don't know where we're going, but I do think they will team up and it will be a sisterhood, as you said before, Prof. But then we see Kit Wilson is in the ring. Yes, boy. And unfortunately, his partner is injured again. These two are always injured, bro. One or the other is just injured all the time, man. And I feel like they're that injury prone.
You can't invest in them.
You can't. They're gonna get released, dude. I feel it.
Yeah, but was their run on the main roster even worth it? You know what I mean? The NXT Pretty Deadly is way different than the main roster Pretty Deadly, because I never even seen a hint of that.
Yeah, man. I just feel like they're injured one too many times. Joseph is in the house saying, yo, Jimmy T, yo, what up, Joseph? Thank you for joining us, man. He also says, Bill was right. Punk being fraud, Cena pipe bomb told it all. Greatest promo from Cena. We'll get to that, so stay tuned, Joseph. Zane says he's been injured. Yeah, but they've been injured. One or the other is always freaking injured, bro. You know what I mean? They're always injured. They can never stay healthy at the same time. And that's why I just feel like they're just a bad investment right now, man. I'm sorry, Chris Wheeland, if you're listening, bro. I like Pretty Deadly too, but not these main roster version. They just suck, man.
Yeah, there's just no direction for them. And then I guess the direction for Kip Wilson is to take an ass whipping. That's what it was. He serves that purpose right now.
Absolutely. He's just a jobber, Wilson, right now. And speaking of, he's in the ring for a match against Aleister Black as he makes his entrance. But before the match can even get underway, we see Ron Killings is here and beating poor, should I call him Kitty Wilson, down. He chokes him out in the STF and gets a mic to demand John Cena get here now because he's driving. He locks the STF back on, and road agents stream past and confused, with confused sort of looks on, on Ron Killings, because we see Jamie Noble seems to talk sense into Killings, and then they leave together. And then that's that. That was kind of interesting. Why is Jamie Noble the one that can control? He almost remind me of Kimchi and Kamala, dude.
You know what was funny? Again, I hate to go back to this work thing, but you look at what Ron Killings is doing. It's serious, Ron Killings. He wants his revenge on John Cena, but I keep saying, would you have been invested if Ron Killings did this, knowing that he wasn't released? You got to do something with him. Kip Wilson is the perfect yes boy to take all this ass whipping. Even if this never happened, even if this didn't happen, if Aleister Black did not beat Kip Wilson in 30 seconds with the black fade kick, right? In 30 seconds, then that match would have been phenomenal, and Aleister Black would have been down on the totem pole even worse. That's all I'll say on that.
And he's pretty down, man. I feel... Do they know what they're going to do with Aleister Black moving forward, dude? I feel like he's so stale right now and so, down on the card, man, that they don't even give a shit about him at the moment, bro.
Remember, I said happy wife, happy life. So he's like, my wife is right where she is. I'm cool with that right now. Until he wants a little bit of taste of the belts, we'll see. Right now, the direction's not there for Aleister Black right now. So Triple H has got to step on that. Just because, again, he had banger matches in one company, he wasn't happy there. Now he's just having no stories here on Friday nights. So, hopefully that draft, if he goes to Raw, maybe he'll be utilized a little bit better. But,
just ask Rusev.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
like I said, they had banger matches and weren't happy with banger matches.
Apparently not. But nevertheless, I hope they do something with him eventually. I couldn't care less about Rusev, to be honest with you. I don't know why. I just don't care about him anymore, man. He just comes across as bland for me. But I feel like Aleister Black has got so much potential that no one is utilizing him properly. Not AEW and clearly not WWE. But we'll see what happens anyway.
That's why you got 52 weeks, Jimmy. So, some of those weeks don't work, but then once you find a hot angle or a hot story or a hot direction, it is what it is.
Zayn says the talent pool is too full. That's true too. I mean, they do have a stacked roster right now with a lot of depth, man. So I agree in that case. But he also thinks that Rusev is in a better spot. I don't know about that, bro. He's in the same spot as he was in AEW, in my opinion. I haven't seen anything different to make me think otherwise, man. But we'll see.
But like I said, certain weeks we'll find. Once we find the direction, that's where you go from there. It's I hate to use that slow burn word, but then it's a slow burn to get them in the proper direction.
Let's hope you're right. We'll see what happens. We come back from commercial. We see Ron Killings is backstage once again with Jamie Noble. Killing says he wants John Cena right now, and Noble tells him to be patient. Then we see Aleister Black rolling up to ask why Ronnie's getting involved in these matches. And he says it's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with him. And then out of nowhere, we see Damian Priest appears and tells Killings is going through a lot and he'll talk to him as after that he leaves. And Damian says he gets being frustrated, but you can't just go around beating everybody up. He used to do that. I meant that Black leaves, by the way, before. He used to do that, and Truth would show up for him to make him smile and diffuse that energy. And tonight, he wants Ron to handle his business with Cena. And then after that, they'll go downtown celebrating, apparently. And Killings agrees, and that sounds good. But as he walks away, he kind of mean mugs again, sort of thing, which is weird. We'll see what happens with that.
He's serious, man. He's driving. When you mean mug, you're serious. You're driving this thing right now.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's driving. I hope he's not swerving while he's driving, if you get my drift. But anyway, but then after that, we do see the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes making his entrance and gets on the mic. But before he can even say a word, Prof, we hear main event Jey Uso's music hit, and the whole place is freaking yeeting, man, for way too long. I'll be honest, I'm getting sick of all these yeet and greets. It's just way too much and too long, man. It was a big time filler, in my opinion, this whole segment, because Cody couldn't even get a word in.
You paid your hard, but Jimmy, you pay your hard-earned money and you want to yeet.
Do this?
Yes.
One more time?
Yes. You pay your hard-earned money.
Bro.
You got to remember the fans in the arena, not you on the couch. Like, I'm tired of this. It's too much.
Maybe I want to yeet on the couch too, man.
Whatever you do on your couch is your own business. I don't need to know that. But I'm saying people pay a lot of money, thousands of dollars. We hear the economics of WWE tickets, right? They pay thousands of dollars, so they want to yeet their ass off. Let them eat their ass off. It works. It's over. You got to milk it. You got to milk it, Jimmy. You know this.
No, I agree. You're right. It's just when you're watching it, it can be draining at times. But nevertheless, Gross loves to yeet to meat, apparently. Whatever that is, bro.
That's a PSA. That put it on a shirt. Yeet your meat.
Yeet your meat, indeed. Indeed. Remember that? Funaki. I don't know, man. But cool. Is he over, or is the song over, or is it both?
It's both. Everybody,
cool.
This is over. Yeeting is
Yeah.
over, the music's over, and Jay is over. Now again,
Well-
you could go back to the why did he lose the belt in like what 50 days and stuff like that. We don't need to go back into the logistics.
No, we don't really get to that. Get into that. But what I want to bring up, we predicted that Rikishi was going to complain, and boy did he. But he also came out and apologized, bro. Did you see that?
Well, you don't want to hurt your sons. You don't want to hurt your sons into WWE because the power of the pen is still mighty on Triple H's hands. So he can do a lot of stuff right there to curtail the momentum of Jey Uso. But again, economically, it doesn't make sense. But you can do a lot to Jimmy. You can do a lot to Jimmy though.
I wonder who was in his ear. Would it have been his sons? Or do you think Triple H told him to like chill out? Or do you think Jay was like, yo, Pops, settle the fuck down. You're going to give me heat back there.
Trips to Jay to his
For sure.
to Rikishi, and it's right there.
Yeah, I agree, man. Bruce says, nerds that hate Jay have nothing going on. I agree, Us. I love me my Usos, man. They're top people, absolutely.
But when we look at this segment with Cody and Jay, it's all about the King of the Ring. It's all about the momentum for that match on Monday Night Raw and all that stuff. And you'll do that Raw review in a couple of days. But it's going according to plan, maybe not to what the fans want to see. We'll talk about the match after the fact, but you had the players. You had Cody, you had Jay, you had Sami Zayn, you had Randy Orton. Again, I hate to use that word, slow burn, but it's going to be said. But I know what you wanted. I know what you said last week.
Burning on the wick.
But but again, I'll say this. WWE, it was making it predictable when you saw it play out. And it's going to play out for the men's finals.
And we called this.
Yeah, it's gonna be predictable. But the beauty of it before the predictability was that it could have gone in any which way, in any direction, if they chose to. But they want the moneymaker match. That was the thing that made it predictable.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Did it feel like Sami Zayn came across as a heel in a way in this segment?
Well, remember what Sami Zayn is going through on Monday Night Raw weekly behind the scenes with Karrion Kross. Karrion is chipping away. And you said it last week on the Smack Attack. Well, Triple H, we thought that Sami Zayn was going to do something with Jey Uso when he had the belt and kind of turn on him. So again, it's now you have to remember, Karrion Kross is fucking with Sami Zayn's mind, and maybe Sami Zayn is trying to battle the demons within himself. I can't do this. He's trying to do it the right way. He wants to win the King of the Ring the right way. He wants to get that title the right way. But then these little hiccups and speed bumps forces Sami to go back to his devilish ways.
So what you're trying to say is slow burn. That's what you're really trying to say.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to say it, but I didn't want to say it. You can say
Don't worry, I totally understand. But it's true. It's a slow burn once again, ladies and gents. Just so you know. Just, be patient. We're getting there. But the signs are there, definitely. The devil side is really sort of coming out. You know what I mean?
But you said it last week so eloquently because, again, you had a perfect story for Sami Zayn to go into SummerSlam to win this, beat a legend, which he didn't last night. But, again, to win the finals, be the total underdog, and let's see if he can get that and maybe come up short at SummerSlam. They didn't want to play that. They want to play the same card. They want to play the money card, and probably the Saudi prince said, no. We don't want that. We want Cody. We want Randy. We want that.
They love Randy Orton in Saudi Arabia.
Well, they want Yokozuna to win the King of the Ring, but Yokozuna's dead, so
they wanted Ultimate Warrior to be world champion apparently too, but unfortunately he's dead too. And even if he was alive, I'm not sure he could have cut it in the ring, guys. Just so you know. Gruss says Sami Zayn will win his first world title at WrestleMania next year. I'm calling it. Zayn is Daniel Bryan 2.0. I'm not sure.
With the Karrion Kross factor, Gruss, with the Karrion Kross playing factor, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll get to that. Kenny fucking Powers is in the house saying, yo, Jimmy T and Prof, what's cracking lacking? Kenny, thank you for joining us. Zayn says, I'm not being patient. I'm watching Triple R and GCW. Well, good for you, Zayn. Good for you, man. Well, what about NWA and TNA?
No, Zayn's trying to tell you, Jimmy, you need a GCW show on the Hameen.
No, thanks, man. Please. I'm sorry, Zayn. He likes GCW for some weird reason.
There you go. Zayn Vicious and Jimmy T, the GCW review. It's gold. It's gold.
No, I've already asked him, man. He won't. I've actually asked him to jump on the show before. He ain't Zayning it, bro.
Did you ask him to jump on a GCW show? No, you didn't. There you go. He don't want to do WWE. He don't want to do AEW. He wants to do GCW. And you know what's great about that? You can do a monthly review. You don't have to do weekly.
It's true. That's actually true. Good point. Bruce says, remember Daniel Bryan was corrupted by the Wyatt family and came back. That's true too. Absolutely true. And Kenny says it's a total clusterfuck that they are rushing Punk Cena for Saudi Arabia. Should have built out to SummerSlam. Way to give back to the fans that's been spending insane amounts of money. Greedy pricks. Hey, the fans are friggin' paying though, dude. As crazy as that is. You know what I mean? And yes, they are rushing it. That's true. But they've scheduled themselves into this position by having a friggin' PLE every 2 weeks, it feels like at this point.
You got a PLE, you got Saturday night's main event, you got specials. So, right. You got to fill the content. Can you build a story? Yeah, you could do that. That's why, Triple H tries to do these things. That's why where people are upset with the PLE being like 5 or 6 matches, they want 8 or 9. No, Triple H says, nah, we'll give you 5 here. We'll sprinkle 5 for Saturday night's main event. We'll sprinkle 5, and then the SummerSlam will be 2 nights, and then you have your 6 and 6, and that's 12 for the whole weekend. Something like that. I'm not saying it's the right way. It's the only way.
Patience, Kenny. Don't worry, maybe we'll get back to that. We'll revisit it eventually. Who knows, man? But we'll see. Zane says, be patient. You mean slow burn. It's all about the slow burn, bro. But anyway, let's get back to SmackDown, shall we? We just broke down about what happened there with that little crossover between all the wrestlers. But then that leads us to the match between Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn for your men's King of the Ring semi-final matchup. I enjoyed this match. I actually liked it. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. I felt it was just right. And nevertheless, Orton does win via pinfall with the RKO to move on to the finals. What did you think of the match? I actually liked it, dude.
I like the match, but again, the problem I have is, again, just like last week, I have a problem with not recognizing what Randy Orton is. He is the King of the Ring. Oh, wait, no. He was the finalist of last year's King of the Ring, right?
Was he? I can't remember.
Yeah, he lost to Gunther. Yeah, he lost to Gunther.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So,
yeah, you're right.
So the story, again, is like he wants to finish his King of the Ring story. Yeah, to a degree. So if you don't acknowledge certain things historically, I kind of lose face on that stuff. So, and again, you said it last week about Sami Zayn. There could have been a story for Sami Zayn to overcome the odds here and beat a legend in Randy Orton and all that stuff. People would have been like, wow, they actually let Sami win this one.
Right.
Total underdog, and going into Saudi Arabia, he could have been cheered to the umpteenth degree, but they didn't want to do that. Again, they wanted to go with the money matches. And again, the predictability will show it from Monday between Cody and Jey Uso. I don't see Cody losing. Do you?
Because of Saudi Arabia, definitely would have want Cody losing, in my opinion. I just don't see it, but who knows? But I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Actually, forget me asking that question because it wouldn't make sense. So forget it.
No, ask it. I'm not going to give you.
It's dumb.
I'm not going to give you the vet face. Like,
no. It's really dumb because even I know it's dumb. So there's no point in me.
I'm very intrigued about a dumb question. Go ahead. I will not look at you funny. I will not think you in a certain way.
I know that it's not going to happen, but I was going to say, could we possibly get Jay turning heel? But why would you turn him heel when he's over like Rover right now? So that's why I'm saying it's out of the question.
I can understand that, but then that's the Sami Zayn conundrum right now, because at least with that, the Karrion Kross thing is playing out on TV weekly with the locker room segments. You don't have that with Jey Uso. Jey Uso has a path. He still has a path to the World Heavyweight title. He still has a path to Gunther, no matter what.
I still think he's going to get it back off Gunther as well, man. I just think they need to get this Goldberg-Gunther thing out of the way, and then maybe he gets his championship back, but not too fast, because then it looks kind of silly, but pretty soon. I do think he'll get a second run. Kenny says he's glad that Orton won, so we don't have to watch the disheveled Sami Zayn be king. You know what? He's in better shape right now, Sami. I'll give him that. He actually looks better. I know he's got a lot of hair on his chest and shit that kind of hides his body. He actually does look better, and he seems to be very athletic lately, man. And if you saw that match, dude, he took a back spot on the table right on the monitor, bro, and the monitor went flying, but that left a big red welt on his back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which looked like it would have hurt big time.
But Sammy does have that dad bod, so, you know, I can understand that. I can understand.
Yeah, but I feel like
Kenny's
he's been trying to get into better shape. But that's also part of his gimmick, you know, unfortunately, Kenny. You know what I mean? I mean, what do? You shave him and clean face? He'll look weird. You know what I mean?
Or you put the mask on and El Generico comes back. Who knows?
I'm all for that, though. That's the thing. I'm definitely all for that. As a matter of fact, they hinted in the WWE 2K25 game. He's actually in the game under a mask, but not as El Generico, but it is pretty much El Generico. So, you know, they do hint it. Right. So we'll see what happens in the future. But anyway, after the matchup, as Orton wins via RKO, we see Nia Jax is shown walking backstage to set us from the break. And as we come back, you see her walking to the ring. She gets on the mic. She says it's crazy that Tiffany Stratton approached her to be under her wing because she knew exactly what she could do for her. And now she's thriving. But what kind of thanks did she get? Tiffany betrayed her and has her title. And then we see Tiffy coming down. She says Nia is like a toxic ex. She just can't get away from. And she makes excuse after excuse. But when is she going to admit that Stratton's just better than her? Jack says if she's so much better, then why can't she get a rematch without a steel chair to her face? Tiffany says it's her lucky day because she made it official next week. It's just the two of them. And then we see Naomi comes rushing down, hinting or teasing that she's going to cash the Money in the Bank briefcase. But nope, Nia just keeps pulling it down. You get Naomi screaming at Nia, but still the same old deal by pulling her back because obviously Nia wants that championship for herself. Either way, whoever wins this matchup next week, do you think we're finally going to get a Naomi cash-in maybe?
I mean, you could still milk this cash in weekly, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying you could still milk a cash in and all that stuff because she's crazy like that. But the dynamic between the three girls, again, you're rehashing Tiffy Stratton and Nia Jax. I don't think people are very excited about that. They've seen that. They want Tiffy to move on to somebody else. There's a lot, like you said, the talent pool is so full. Use other women on the SmackDown roster. Again, meet Chin, be fat. Fuck it. You use them too to at least give Tiffy something else to work with instead of rehashing Nia Jax, because then you're gonna stall Tiffy, you know, and for anybody to even believe her and give her any credit and like that. So it's almost like people are waiting for Naomi to cash in so she can be the ladies champion.
Why do you think they keep doing that with Tiffy for whatever reason? Why don't they put her in a different spot, even though she's women's champion? You think all these women will be coming after her, but it doesn't feel that way.
The problem is the way WWE wants to present her. They want to present her as a babyface, or the tweener that she should have been, the tweener heel. She was cocky, she was arrogant, boisterous.
She was a heel, technically at first.
And people, but she was arrogant and all that stuff, and people gravitated to her, Tiffy time and all that stuff. But then once people started cheering, then WWE just said, you know what? Scale back a little bit, play fair and all that stuff. And then you just lose a little bit. She lost a little bit of that aura in my eyes. That's all I'll say.
See, I think the people started, getting behind her because of her in-ring ability too, man. And the fact that people know that she was trained by a Ganya, no less. She's got a bit of a pedigree in terms of her come up.
The skills is not the issue, but the gimmick is not. The gimmick is in question right now. The direction's in question. Again, you're just going back to Nia Jax. I have no problem with going back to Nia Jax.
I actually like Nia, even as champion.
Yeah, I don't mind that. But again, but today's IWC will be like she's stalled. She's
Right.
she's in the same old, same old. It's not a rivalry. It's just something to fill up time. And then you add the Naomi factor. That's all people are waiting for. They're just waiting for when Naomi's going to cash in at the right time. And the only way it will be the right time, what is it? Next week, Tiffy against Nia, right? For the title?
That's right.
You could do the Naomi comes in, maybe whacks Nia in the back with the briefcase, makes it a triple threat, and Naomi could cash in and win next week. You could do that and go in a different way.
Well, Gruss thinks that we're going to get a new WWE Women's Champion next week. Maybe
but Gruss,
we will. We'll
Gruss didn't name the new Women's Champion because it could be, like I said, it could be Naomi, it could be Nia. You never know.
Either way, it's a new Women's Champion, thanks to Gruss. Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I've got a feeling someone who's become. Then again, it'll be very uneventful if Tiffy does just lose it like that. But who knows? We'll see. That leads us to the next matchup because we see Charlotte Flair versus Chelsea Green, and poor old Chelsea. This was she pretty much got squashed, man. Charlotte Flair wins.
No, she didn't get squashed. She has her purpose. She has her purpose on TV. It's almost, again, this is where I'll school you, Jimmy, a little bit. Her character and her gimmick overshadows the win-loss record.
But that's right. No, I agree with that. That's what makes her. That's why she's so good. And she gets that. She understands that too.
She's got a character. The secret harvest is over and all that stuff. So you can utilize that. The win, and again, she will be rewarded in time and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if she wins the Royal Rumble. That's what I'll say.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't be surprised. You got a reward for all this stuff. So again, what's that word we're using, right? Slow burn.
It's
that'll be a slow burn like a motherfucker.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, she's awesome anyway, man. Like, she's absolutely great, and she does understand her character. And as a matter of fact, if you hear in interviews, she's not all about winning anyway. She totally gets it.
Yeah.
So
and again, the story is not really about Chelsea and the Secret Harvest. The story is again Charlotte and Bliss. But the funny thing about this match is when Piper Niven squashed Charlotte while she was doing the figure eight, right? I was like, wait a minute. You realize she could have broke her leg. She jumped up, splashed her on the. I'm like, wait a minute. She could have bent her knee backwards and stuff like that, or she could have broke her other leg. That was one of the most dangerous moves I ever saw for Charlotte, especially coming back after being gone for a year and a half with the leg like that. To even do that was a risk.
Right.
Was a risky move.
Well, they're pros, man. They pulled it off, no less. So,
no doubt about being pros, but again, the body still can do what it can. It can only take so much.
And especially Charlotte's very, delicate, I feel like right now, man. Very
the legs are delicate, Jimmy. That's definitely what I'm saying. If you look at it over again, how many nights? I was like, God damn. I thought she almost broke her leg.
I mean, she's selling. I mean, she's done the right thing, though. You'd be attacking the leg at the end of the day. So
I get with you, but again, Piper's not a small woman. She's a big woman. She's a big husky woman. And doing husky. That, and she just jumped up. I was like, yo, you can be safe and all that stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. And again, they're all pros. I understand that. But you never know. Science and gravity just doesn't mix.
No, but that's true, too. Gravity doesn't lie. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But post-match, the Secret Harvest jump Flair, but Alexa Bliss makes a save and hits the Sister Abigail DDT on Green as Bliss offers a handshake, but Charlotte cold shoulders her and simply walks on by. And, we're still getting the tease. They're cock teasing each other every week, Prof. But again, it's all about that slow burn. It's all about the foreplay with these two. That's for sure.
But again, it's got to be a slow burn to WrestleMania if Triple H is trying to do that. And I'm not saying that's going to be a good thing. I'm just saying, but the way the story is going to play out, they will eventually be teaming up with each other. They'll back each other up. And then, of course, Charlotte would be the only one that would kind of like betray her.
The mega powers explode after that.
Yeah.
Literally. Gruss says Piper is a natural disaster. Oof. Are you calling it fat, bro? Is that no? Maybe they can find another Piper and we can call them the natural disasters 2.0.
Well,
Zayn
that's why you
says-
got Nia Jax for.
Hey, perfect. Absolutely. Imagine that. And they come out to the earthquake theme. They walk, the earthquake fucking, that'd be funny as.
Women's groups would protest WWE shows. The hell you doing?
Zayn says, I don't want to face Charlotte under any circumstance. You're not
I
going to
agree.
get that.
I agree.
We shouldn't get that, but maybe they're trying to do that by having her with Alexa, but I hope not. Yeah, exactly. Gross, as the prof said too. Yeah, the natural disasters for sure. Anyway, let's move on because we see JC Mateo. He's taping his wrists. When then we see Solo asking what he's doing. Well, obviously he's taping his wrists. Solo, God. JC says he's going to take care of Jacob Fatu, but Solo insists he's going to go and talk and smooth things over with words. He does, however, tell Mateo to be ready as we go to a break. And as we come back, we see Solo making his entrance alone, and he gets on the mic. He says he's waiting for Jacob with open arms, and he feels terrible about what happened and asks him to come out and clear the air. Then we see Jacob coming out. He repeats himself what he said to Jacob, and he says he loves him and always loved him. And as Tribal Chief, he learned how to love and take care of your family. And that's what he's trying to do. Families fight, they argue, they forgive, and then they move forward. So he wants to move forward together as one. He says nobody saw Jacob's potential or wanted him here except for him, which is why he brought him here and put food on his family's table. And he did that out of love. And he doesn't have anybody else, just Fatu. Not just that, he's all Solo needs. He wants him to come back to the family, even if he doesn't say the 4 words. He'll say them for him to him every day, and he does. He tells Fatu that he loves him. Jacob says the way he sees things, Solo has been using him to gain power and to fight his battles, and so that he could stay Tribal Chief. He brought him in so he could bring Solo fame and gold. Is that what this is about? Fame and gold, Tribal Chief power. He demands Sikoa look at him when he's talking to him. He says ever since he won the United States Championship, Solo has been looking at him different, and he figured it out. Maybe the problem isn't him. Maybe the problem is the title. Jacob lays the title on the map between them and says if that's what he thinks it is, then he wants Solo to fight him for it, and he thinks about to do it. He knows what Jacob Fatu is about, all gas and no brakes, yada mean. He blocks a Samoan spike, and bowls Solo over with a headbutt as JC Mateo arrives to save his pal, and the Samoan werewolf falls prey to that damn numbers game. But have no fear because Big Jimmy's here to make the save. Super kicks, are plenty, but eventually Mateo takes him down via a lariat. Fatu recovers, takes JC and Solo out with super kicks, headbutts, and in the corner to Sikoa, another super kick to Mateo. And then we had a bit of an ode to Rikishi on Solo. Jacob turns to address Jim Uso. They stare each other down for a beat before Fatu goes to the corner for the moonsault, but Sikoa then runs away as the heels lick their wounds. Jacob approaches Uso just enough to grab his title bout, and then we go to a break. This is not a bloodline feud. This is more like a Solo, well, should I say a Fatu family feud, not Anoa'i.
Well, it is all about Solo. It's all about Jacob Fatu. It's all about the U.S. title. It's all about the jealousy and the greed. And Solo, has lost direction, losing the Ulafala earlier this year, right? So
absolutely big time.
So he's lost the Ulafala. He's lost like the respect of his supposed bloodline. So that's what it is. So he needs a title to get something back. He needs to get some kind of power back. So what's the best way to get power? Get a belt. So the U.S. title is there, but the problem is Jacob's got it. So your underling took your title away from you to a degree, even though that doesn't make sense, right? But that's the way they're going to play it out with the story. It's not a bloodline story, you're right. And if you want to say it's a bloodline story, that's bloodline like 100. That's like down to 100. We already the top bloodline storylines were already said 3 years ago. We're down to the bottom of the barrel. So I don't want it to be a bloodline correlation. And again, remember, slow burning. You still have Gorillas of Destiny when they can come back from their injuries to play into this too. So where are their allegiances going to lie? But I don't want to I don't want to bore. Yeah, I don't want to speculate like that. And again, I wouldn't want that bloodline storyline because it's already been told. So, Jacob is fine the way he is. He's the Simone Werewolf, but he's a loner. He doesn't need backup. So, you want to do the JC Mateo, Solo, and Jimmy and Jacob tag match? Fine. That's a SmackDown match. Saturday night's main event match. That's as far as it goes with me. Is it a pay-per-view match or PLE? Nah, it ain't even that. It's not that.
I feel like they've over milked this whole damn thing now, man. I think they should just stop this shit, man. It's dead, really. It's officially over in many ways.
Yeah, it is over.
This is more like a side quest per se, but like,
well, the side quest is the U.S. belt, so that's fine.
Right?
You want to fight for that? You want to fight for that prestige? By all means, do that. But it has nothing to do with the bloodline. You're right.
Well, Zayn says the Tongans are going to be coming in, and I do think the Tongans will turn on the Samoans eventually. That was the whole plan from day one. You even saw it with the Tongans looking at each other when shit wasn't going to plan. You know what I'm saying?
So you got the you got the Tongans and the Polynesian JC Mateo. They're going to turn on Solo and Jimmy.
Yeah, I think JC Mateo will join the Tongans, man, because it makes sense, right? They got the history from New Japan and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes total sense if they do that. So, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Don't forget Hikuleo too.
Oh, of course, the big man Hikuleo. Well, he did make his debut last week on main event. Apparently, he was on main event again this week. I haven't seen, but apparently he was on there. So
I can't wait for him to be the speed champion.
Oh, God. There's no way he can
Hikuleo was born and bred for the speed title. 3 minutes, you don't have to do anything.
Bruce says he saw the Hikuleo dark match. It was trash.
Tell you, Bruce, speed champion. That's all you need. 3 minutes. You only need a good 3 minutes out of Hikuleo.
To be fair, again, sorry to take that off you there. To be fair, Hikuleo sucks in the ring and always has. So I don't know if he's improved right now. You say he sucked. I don't know, man. I guess he does still suck. Zayn says something besides Sean Rickard got to carry TV.
That's
right.
Jacob. That's Jacob.
Well,
hear the crowd. Hear the crowd. Everybody loves Jacob. So it's
and for
good.
saying his shoot name,
You fucking mark!
you're a fucking mark for that one, Zayn. God damn, bro.
It's personal. It's personal. It's personal for Zayn.
It's personal, all right. Speaking of personal, that leads us to the next match. It is Big Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. This match really, it was just a brawl pretty much for about 5 minutes, if that. And in the end, Knight wins via disqualification because, of course, we had, Bronson, not just Bronson Reed, but Bron Breakker interfere in the match as well. And, pretty much walloped him. And, Knight wins via disqualification. So I guess with Knight, he's going to go one by one until he gets to Rollins eventually, where Rollins is the final boss now, ironically, to this feud.
Is LA Knight going to have to fight the gauntlet to get to Rollins?
Yeah.
On his
basically.
own? No
He's
help?
going to have to be
no
speed
backup?
roasted.
Nobody? No Jay? No Sammy? No backup like that? I mean, that's a legitimate question, and I'm not trying to be dumb here, but again, it's the optics, right?
Right?
LA Knight, he doesn't ask for help. He doesn't want help. He doesn't need help, but he will help people if he chooses to. So again, you want him to run the gauntlet alone. And again, I go back to what I saw on TV for the last couple of weeks, right? Who's been, interfacing with Seth Rollins' crew? CM Punk has, Sami Zayn has, Jey Uso has. So you got certain players that can help LA Knight, but now it's just LA Knight on his own. It's kind of weird, right, Jimmy? It's like, you can't forget the history, and then you just go on to here, and then he's on his own. It's kind of stupid.
Oh, boy. Kenny, you're gonna get his heat, bro. You're gonna get his heat. It's just like
I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that, Kenny.
God, don't get his heat over here, Kenny. Come on, bro. We don't talk politics here. Trust me, it's better we don't talk politics on the Smack Attack. That's for sure. Otherwise, people will be having heart attacks, if you know what I mean.
Drone attacks. What are you talking about?
Drone attacks for sure. Yeah, Groove says LA Knight doesn't need no backup. Yeah, because he's a one-man clan.
Everybody
Not
needs
gang.
Everybody needs backup, though. You know that. It's part of the story.
mean-
Everybody needs backup.
Eventually, you need friends and not enemies. Zayn thinks it's NWA 1986.
Well,
I
if
mean,
LA
come
Knight's
on.
Dusty Rhodes has backup. He always has backup. I'm being logistic. I'm the professor for a reason. There's logistics here.
Logistics. Absolutely. Well, after the disqualification, post-match Breaker hits a second spear as Bronson jumps off the top ropes for the tsunami. Then he goes up again, does it again. Then Braun clears the ring of referees, and the third splash is hit. The megastar, yeah. As we go from the break, go to a break, and as we come back from a break, we see Jacob Fatu cutting a promo where he yells that he spoke to Nick Aldis, and he got his match against Solo Sikoa at Night of Champions with the United States Championship on the line, and Solo
He put on a PLE. Goddamn, mama. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
he put on the
not
PLE.
It's not even worth a PLE match. I'm sorry, it ain't.
Do you think there's a chance actually that we possibly get a Solo win and he becomes champion, and then we can sort of keep going with this feud?
I mean, Solo on the mic is good.
He's absolutely great. I think he's underrated.
Yeah, Solo on the mic is good, and then Solo with a belt in a suit on a mic, talking shit. Yeah,
That's what he is. He's a great shit talker, bro. Like, he's the epitome of talking shit. Like, but he's good at it though.
So the best way for Solo to win is JC Mateo, does some fuckery to Jacob Fatu, cause a distraction, and then he can lose the title. That's the only way it works.
Is that when we possibly see the Tongans come back? Because I'm hearing right now that Tama Tonga is healthy and ready to go, but Tonga Loa, I'm not sure yet.
Didn't one of the Tongans debut at Night of Champions? It was a foreign pay-per-view that one of the Tongans debuted, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, it was first Tama Tonga, wasn't it? Oh no, both of them.
But
they both debut at the same time.
They debuted on, I think, Night of Champions. I don't know.
Well, Gross thinks Jimmy Uso will help Solo win the US title because brothers reunite. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Unless you're gonna make him absolute heel. Kenny says it's not hate, it's the truth, not dying for a war between religions. No, anyway, I don't want to get into this whole thing, but I get you, bro. I get you. It's your opinion at the end of the day, man. So I ain't hating on that. I totally understand where you're coming from. The last thing you guys want is to be dragged into another friggin' war, put it that way, which drags everyone else into it. So I'm not going to get into more into that, but
Lex Luthor said it best. Lex Luthor said it best in Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Nobody wants a war. We just want the threat of it. That's all. Because it's profit. War is profit.
Kenny, I don't mind, bro. It's just that people are going to see what you said, and then it's going to cause problems, bro. I'm saying it for more even your own sake. I'm going to keep my opinions to myself, but I totally get where you're coming from. I don't judge no one, man. It's all good. So don't apologize. But anyway, we go to the main event. It is John Cena versus Ron the Truth Killings. And again, I was expecting more, but it didn't matter because pretty much Truth wins via disqualification. But the match, it didn't matter about the match. Forget the match. This was nothing to do with the match, really. It was just all smoke and mirrors. Because post-match, CM Punk...
And that's where people will say, well, you see, Professor, it's not a work, it's a shoot, because they don't know what to do with him. No. Again, I told you, it's a work because it didn't matter. He just wanted a run. He wanted one more run. You don't need a plan for a fucking... Who was planning? Who was going to spend the next, all-nighters writing for Ron the Truth Killings' last run? Nobody, because no one cared. Nobody cared. And this is a great example that it's not about the match. It was about afterwards, and Jimmy will, talk about that in a second, how many nights. But it's more of the work itself. It's like you just gave him more TV time to do nothing. And then remember, Jimmy, he had that look with Aleister Black. You cost Aleister Black a match. You cost him a payday. So you could actually have him work. You could have him work a program with Aleister Black, even though you're not excited for that. I'm not excited for that. You had the back and forth between Damian Priest and Ron the Truth Killings. Judgment Day. Oh, we could talk about the Judgment Day history. Could they Could they be a tag team? Could they reunite to be a tag team? I don't want to see that. But again, you give Ron the Truth Killings a last run somehow, some way, and the best way for his last run to be a payoff is a tag team championship. Sorry to say that.
No, you're right, man. Sonic the Hedge Rat says the match was just there because when Punk cut his pipe bomb, Punk had just helped Truth win his match by moving the table on Cena. Yeah, but the bigger picture was what I'm going to get into right now, because post-match, as I was saying, CM Punk makes the save and Cena cuts him off in the ring and puts boots to him. Then Punk recovers and punches away, grabbing the title and holding it high, but John kicks him low and reclaims his title bout. Cena then lays in wait and clocks Punk with the bout right in the dome as the champion goes under the ring and gets a Slim Jim branded table out and slides it inside. John sets the table up in the middle of the ring as Punk pulls himself to his feet and again clobbers CM with the title bout. Then he gets him into a fireman's carry and an attitude adjustment through the table as Cena goes to the timekeeper's area for a microphone and returns to the ring laughing as he sets himself up on the turnbuckles and speaks, and he quotes the pipe bomb from word to word, hence why I said Back to the Future. He quotes the pipe bomb, telling Punk as he's laying there in the most uncomfortable, I guess he seems like he's uncomfortable, he hopes he can listen and digest, because before he leaves in 6 months with the WWE Championship, he's got to get a whole lot of stuff off of his chest. And first things first, he doesn't hate him. He doesn't even dislike him. He likes Punk more than anyone he's ever shared a locker room with does. Those famous words that Punk said to John back in 2011, funny enough. But he hates this idea of him that he's the best in the world, because he's not. John says he's the greatest of all time, and Punk is better than him at one thing. He's the best bullshitter in the world. Oh no, kiddos, John Cena just dropped a curse word. As the show is off the rails, he waves and breaks the fourth wall. He's jealous that CM Punk has convinced people of this myth, and they chant for him and sing for him, but they don't believe a goddamn word he says, because he changes his values as much as Cena changes his t-shirts. He's kind of not wrong there, to be honest. He says CM is just a loudmouth opportunist who steps on the necks of people who are just working hard. And then out of nowhere, because, it's a pipe bomb, he shouts out Claudio Castagnoli and Nick Nemeth and, of course, Matt Cardona, and says nobody's going to cut his mic and save Punk. And surprise, surprise, his mic didn't get cut. Who gave him the stage back then, ever since he's repeated the same 5 words of promo doom, promo potato salad. He's no longer the voice of the voiceless. He's a millionaire despite himself. He's not a punk. He's a capitalist. And he's not anti-TKO. He's Mr. TKO instead. He says Punk's tweets are strong and his actions are weak. And in Saudi Arabia, he's going to face some loud music when Cena proves that he's always been the greatest of all time. And as the crowd cheers this, funny enough, and John says they know, and that CM Punk was the best in the world for 7 minutes 14 years ago. I can't believe that much time has flown by, Prof. But anyway, he continues on saying after Night of Champions, he's still delusional enough to think he's the best in the world. Well, it's a small world after all, as he thanks Grand Rapids and says the mood is starting to change. And now Aja Pereira hits the ring to check on Punk. And he says he's not doing any more damage. Punk has to rest up for their match. And best in the world against the greatest of all time for the most coveted prize in sports entertainment, the WWE Undisputed Championship. And they'll sing and they'll chant, but they'll see the truth. The champ is here. He tells USA to keep the extra 2.5 minutes because He doesn't need a bomb this motherfudging building. And then he thanks Punk and for ripping off his promo, and that's the show. Pretty epic.
So it was nice to relive 2011 in reverse roles. It literally in 2011 and 2025 how many nights that table was related because they were the strongest tables that both of them took on those particular nights. And you know, it's funny, Jimmy, when all the stuff that was played out last night, and people probably will say that this is the best heel work that John Cena has.
Everyone's saying it, dude. Even Vince Russo is saying it.
It's kind of funny to say that, but I kind of look at it a little bit differently because, you know, when people go on their social medias, they go on Twitter and they react after the fact, right? So you could say all that, and I'm not going to disagree with that. But I had time to process, Jimmy. So I have a different take on that because I'm thinking about it since Elimination Chamber, right? Again, Cena never sold his soul to The Rock. It was just The Rock just told him truth bombs. I don't want to get into those details, but think about it this way, Jimmy. And I'm not saying you have to agree with me. I'm just saying this is just the way I'm observing this. I think for Cena ruining wrestling and everything from day one was Cena having a toxic relationship with the fans, right? It's always been that. That's why the Rock told him that truth bomb about the fans and all that stuff. But Cena has, whether for better or for worse, and some people did not like the Cody Rhodes match. I don't care about the match. I'm just saying he's adapted to every guy that he's fought, whether it was Cody Rhodes, Ron Killings, Randy Orton, and now CM Punk. He's adapted to his toxic relationship with the fans. What does Cody Rhodes represent? You copied me. You copied my style. You took my fans away from me, right? Randy Orton, what did he do? He took his hometown advantage, right? And used it against him. All that pressure of being the hometown boy and winning the belt. He used that to his advantage. Everything has a moment and a reason. Ron the Truth Killings is more about the childhood heroes. It's against the you know, every child that has a headband and a Cena shirt. He's going after the kids, like Make-A-Wish kids. And now CM Punk is turning the way to where the fans, you know, how they resonated with the pipe bomb. What did the fans do last night? They resonated with the pipe bomb. So it's almost like Cena saying, you see, you motherfuckers, you are so hypocritical. You are so stupid. You're cheering my name. He didn't have to say that. I'm not saying I wish he did, but he's exploiting what the fans are.
It was done by design too.
It was done by design. But again, the purpose of the heel turn is the toxic relationship with the fans. Don't get it twisted. And when Cena fights somebody else, look at it from that landscape and look at it from that perspective. Everything he's doing is adapting to it has nothing, you know, if Cena continues to be this braggadocious person right now, then fine. But I'm saying every person that he's fought is an adaptation to a situation for being the good guy. And he's exploiting that for every reason for it. And now with this one, it's like he's looking at the fans like, you're cheering me for this? Really? And don't get me wrong, it was a good pipe bomb. Cena can't be beat. He's the GOAT for a reason. He's too good. Absolutely. On the mic, he's absolutely brilliant, man. But he's actually very smart the way he does things because he's showing everybody why everyone's an idiot, basically. And remember, it's still a toxic relationship with the fans, between Cena and the fans. And what's a toxic relationship? Eventually, you'll have to go back. Eventually, you'll have to either say I'm sorry or I was wrong. It's still a relationship for some strange reason. So again,
absolutely,
we still got 6 months to go. We still got other people he might want to fight. So again, watch this how many nights. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying just look at it from a different landscape of this. Look at it from a different set of eyes. He adapts to the situation, but it all goes back to the fans, not to the person, not to the storyline. Again, we are rehashing the 2011 pipe bomb. But he's rehashing that for a reason because he wants to prove he's proving a point with the fans and how hypocritical they were to him and why you cheer me now for just telling you the truth.
He should be the truth, John Cena, right now, not our truth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, funny enough, but you're right, man. It's actually very smart the way he's done it, and I'm glad he's salvaged this shit because originally, it was supposed to have The Rock involved and all that. Obviously, that turned to shit, but he's managed to eventually, pave his own sort of road now, and he's starting to kill it, man. Because at first it was kind of weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's taken a while for him to
But
get
I,
into
but I
his
think
own.
but I think it's weird because of what you wanted out of it. If you did not get The Rock, then it's to shit, and I can't force you to like look at it from a different landscape. And again,
Right.
look at it from this landscape for Night of Champions. How is CM Punk going to lose on that would make it make sense? The only person that makes lose next week.
He's
Logan
lose.
Paul,
Yeah,
Logan Paul, right? He's not going to
You
lose
think so?
cleanly. I mean, again, if you have Cena, you had Logan Paul for a little stretch. You can't have it a one
Travis.
Travis Scott, yeah, you got to use certain things.
It's lit.
It is.
I can see Travis Scott actually coming back for this in particular, dude. I don't know about
but
Logan
you know what would
Paul
be
yet.
funny? It'd be funny, like, you're not expecting The Rock, and out of all the places, Rock returns in Saudi Arabia, and he doesn't want to return in America.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Almost like a Bret Hart sort of back in '97 when he was, like a good guy in Canada and a heel in the US.
Yeah.
But but in this point, you don't make him come back to the US. It's anywhere else overseas.
Yeah, it's bigger money for him to return on WWE TV because it's Saudi Arabia, just for the just to eat
For the payday?
For the payday, yeah.
Right, for sure. Absolutely, 100%, man. There's a few things here that people want to say. Cold-Blooded says, if WWE doesn't give us John Cena versus Nikki Bella, what are we even doing here? You're a character, Cold-Blooded. I wish I had the little Cold-Blooded. I need to get that off Ray.
Who's the heel and who's the face in that match, though?
Oh, Cena's the baby face in this, 100%, all the way. Kenny F. and Power says, it goes to show how much they haven't built enough new stars. Hair Plug, Cena, and Salt and Pepper Punk have the most interesting feud. No shade on these guys. They are great at what they do. I mean,
no wrestling company has built stars because of the IWC. I'm sorry. That's not. Yeah, it's the fans. You nitpick too much, and it's not about you. It's not about anybody in the chat. I'm just saying it's just social media itself. Every wrestler's stocks drops if you don't get the storyline right. If you don't get the match right, they're dead. They're buried, and all this shit. You ain't gonna build a star like that.
No patience with people anymore, dude.
People got no patience.
That's the problem, man. Everyone wants things right there, and then they're still not happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was gonna say yara. I mean, but
I
yeah,
know what you mean. I know what you mean. But we're the IWC is the reason why there's no new stars. I'm sorry, that's the truth.
He could be onto something.
It's the IWC. It's the IWC. And again, no disrespect. It's Russo. It's Coach. Could be Ben too. Again, Steve Richards. It's all these people. Solomonster, JD, whoever. Name your podcaster.
They
bring the stock down of every wrestler because something doesn't make sense. When you say the word, it doesn't make sense. How are you going to create a new star? You can't. You really can't.
And you know what else is weird before we go, actually, Prof? I've thought about this shit lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even watching some older stuff, I think to myself, man, we liked a lot of shit back then that was probably pretty bad by today's standards. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you really think about it, there was a lot of trash.
There was trash bookings. There was trash storylines back in the 80s too. But you know what there wasn't?
Oh, the 80s, come on.
Yeah, but you know what there wasn't? There wasn't no chat rooms. There wasn't people complaining. You just let the story play out.
I mean, think about this, bro. Now, I know, I was a mark for ECW. I know you were an even bigger fan of ECW than I was because you had access to it easier than I did at the time. I had to, tape trade to even watch shit. And I've still got some of my original tapes of ECW from the mid-90s, 95 up. But imagine ECW today, for example, but with the same, like with people like people would be shitting on Tommy Dreamer today, bro.
Yeah.
Like, think of guys like
No,
Tommy Dreamer.
actually, ECW was, let's say, the gateway to what it is today.
To today.
Because
Absolutely.
of the
I'm
fans,
glad you said it.
because the ECW arena acted that way, but those wrestlers had the thick skin to adapt. They had the thick skin to not take it personal, and they had the foresight to say, I gotta make this work. Tommy Dreamer changed this character from one degree to another.
Babyface sort of.
Sandman changed this character from one degree to another. Yeah.
From the guy, yeah.
But that fan base was the gateway to AOL chat rooms, to the Wrestling Observer dirt sheets and shit like that. So don't get it twisted, Jimmy. You saw it, but it was just it was like 200, 300, 500 people in the ECW arena, bringing down people. But those wrestlers adapted to become stars.
Right.
Now,
in their own ways, absolutely.
There's too much of a chat. There's too many chat rooms. There's too many Twitters. There's too many podcasters that are bringing the stock of wrestlers down that you can't create the stars. Some people like adapt to it? Yeah, they could. Will we accept it? I don't know. I'm not saying will we accept it. Let me just change it. Will they become mainstream? That's a different question. Could they be wrestling stars? Yes. The IWC can make a wrestling star. But remember, we're people saying, can they make stars? What does that mean? Mainstream, crossover. Right. Can they make those stars? No, they can't. The IWC can't. They almost won't allow it. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I know people in the chat might not agree with that, but you won't allow a wrestler to become a mainstream star.
Yeah, but see, what is it? Why though? Like, why are people so fickle? I guess Daniel Bryan put it best, or Danielson, whatever you want to call it.
Because it's got to be a certain way, a certain presentation. They got to say the right lines and stuff like that. They got to win a boatload of matches in a row. And they have to have the best title reign in the history of wrestling too. I'm sorry. The parameters are really weird.
It is weird. It's bizarre, actually. You know what I mean? But Bruce says New Jack would mess you up. I mean, it's true. If you crossed him,
he didn't care if you hated him, because you're right. He would beat the shit out of you.
But he was also working a lot of people too. But yeah, he was violent too in real life.
Dude was sniffing coke, man. He would still beat you up if you would try to troll him. Nobody. I was right next to New Jack. I was like, nah, I ain't saying shit. I kept my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Lost Battalion Hall. He was like walking where we were waiting for the doors to open.
He's back in ECW days.
Yeah, he was signing autographs and stuff like that. And I didn't say shit. I was like this. Fans were being fans, but I was like, nah, I ain't gonna say nothing. I don't want to.
That's awesome, man.
I knew my place.
Because he probably just shit on you in front of everybody, like you know what I mean. Like he just gives you that vibe. And you'd be like, fuck you, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, for doing that. Then it's all on. Say fuck you to him. Even if he's dead, he'll haunt you, motherfuckers.
Oh, hell yeah.
But him and Mustafa in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I loved them in Smoky, because that was so racist. But because it was like a real Southern promotion, like a real hick promotion.
But wrestling was at that time was allowed to tap into what was going on culturally.
Yeah, but it was brilliantly done, because they'd be equally racist with the black side of the fans too. They didn't discriminate. It didn't matter.
But you could test those waters out on wrestling TV, and that's what you can't do. We're joking with Kenny effing Powers, right? Because of what he was saying earlier, but you can't do that.
Politics. It's politics.
No, but wrestling used to mix politics,
right? Too. Exactly.
But you
That's
can't
what makes
do that.
It great.
You can't mix politics and certain social issues. You can't mix that, because again, it's a very touchy subject with people. You can't do that.
Well, remember Joe the King Lawler, Flaming F?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. There's no way you'd get away with that now. But it's true, man, and that's what makes pro wrestling great. Is because it literally goes by society. You know what I mean? And politics. Unfortunately, pro wrestling in 2025 tries to skip around a lot of shit. Just like Goldberg and Gunther. You telling me like there's no sort of you know what I mean, bro? You got the Jewish man against the Austrian, mind you, the big H guy, won't mention his name. You know what I'm talking about. Was actually born in Austria too, you know.
If this was 1987, we would have a better shit. He'd be wearing the garb. He had the Nazi symbol, and then Goldberg would be the super Jew to, you know, thwart him. I have to.
You said it. Sonic says we glossed over it, but technically R-Truth holds the first win over Cena after his heel turn. Actually, you're right. I'm glad you brought that up. Even though it was a DQ, as you said also, it's still a win. Is he wrong?
He's not wrong. Yeah. But
so
like you said, you didn't care about it because it was what was more important after the fact.
Right, because it wasn't about that. Right, exactly. And he's not even going to bring that up. I doubt he'll even say anything. Like, it won't even get brought up. You know what I mean? That's the problem, Sonic. If it gets brought up, then it was done, you know, good in some ways. But no one's going to talk about it. No one's going to even remember that.
No, again, remember the IWC will pat themselves on the back. Yeah, we won one against the machine. We got R-Truth back on TV. We got him his contract. You know, it is what it is. But like I said, were you really interested in the Truth last run? No, he wasn't. You just needed a hook for it.
Bruce says society is soft nowadays. I'll try to shut you down. Right, but I feel like society is wanting to sort of get that edge back slowly. If you know what I mean, there's sort of like a bit of a turn. But again, it's a slow burn, Bruce. Slow burn. That's the word of the day and of the show. Put that in your heads. Slow burn. It's all about the slow burn, and stop complaining about everything. God damn it. Kenny says, perfect timing, Prof. Super Jew is going to be in the new Superman movie. Whoa.
MJF? He's going to be there? I didn't know he got a movie deal.
Oh boy! Shout outs to all our Jewish friends out there. Oh, Super Jew, I like that. Oh, anyway, Prof, that was this show, and you know, we've gone over 2 hours, man. I think it's safe to say we should take it home. We're both tired, but we still.
I know you're tired with your time zone. You're tired.
I'm tired, bro. It's 5:30 a.m. Look at my eyes, bro. Yeah. I look tired. But I had to do it, man. We had to do a smack attack. Otherwise, I hate doing it like after I do a wreckage. It kind of, you know, it's meaningless after that. But thank you for like coming through when I needed you, man, because again,
I'm not the co-host, Homie Nights. I'm not. I'm just
You'll be back next week, hopefully. Don't worry, I won't bother you for a week. If he doesn't turn up again next week, I'll get someone else. But
Rick, stop eating now on a Friday night. And just, you know, do it right.
Yeah, enough eating on a Friday night. Do it right. I like it. It's got a good flow to it. Anyway, in saying that, Prof, tell them what you're doing and what you're up to, man.
Well, you can follow my YouTube channel, the PWSOPROF, and we just dropped the latest episode of the Pro Wrestling Reflection. We did a Pro Wrestling Spotlight Greatest Heel Turns when Jim Cornette betrayed the Dynamic Dudes in 1989. It was a fun episode with myself and the Tommy Wonder. So follow me on the Twitter at PWSOPRF2 and follow my man Tommy Wonder at the Tommy Wonder. That's THEE Tommy Wonder and all that stuff. So, you know, check out the reflection on my YouTube channel and, you know, enjoy the nostalgia.
Awesome show, man. If you guys haven't checked it out, do yourselves a favor and do check it out. You will not be disappointed. And thank you, Cold Blooded. Appreciate it, man. At the end of the day, we appreciate all of you, man, because we do it because of all of you. But I really appreciate you saying that, man. That means the world to me. But, man, like I said, I love doing what I'm doing. I love pro wrestling just like everyone else does. And that's why I'm happy to do it, man. So, but it's bedtime for me. Thank God there's no PLE until next week, Prof, where we're off to Blood Money. What is this? Blood Money 18 at this point? I've lost count.
I didn't count how many blood monies they've done, but it's enough blood money to do it.
There's sure going to be a lot of blood money next week. I'm looking forward to it, though. It's actually more intriguing, this event, than usual. So we'll see what happens there. But in saying that, if you do want to follow me,
just remember, we're the first one that said maybe The Rock will come to Saudi Arabia out of all the places to help John Cena defeat CM Punk.
Honestly, I think the chances are very high, dude. I don't know why, because if they want him, he will turn up. I guarantee it.
Saudi money, blood money.
It pays well.
It pays well.
Anyway, thank you, Sonic, also, man. I appreciate that, what you said too. But anyway, as I was saying, if you want to follow me, you can at DJ Mass Effects. But I can't really interact with that account. So follow me at the PWC Network where I can interact with that account. And yeah, also like and subscribe at channelattitude.com with $5. Not only do you get the realest but the best talk in all of pro wrestling, and of course like and subscribe right here at Immune Media Group's YouTube channel. Please, share the word. It would be very much appreciated. And that's a wrap. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. He is the glorious and the magnanimous Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the Smack Attack right here on Immune Media Group's YouTube channel and on channelattitude.com after the fact. Until next time, peace, and we're out. See yous.